Observe as I galvanize the toy collecting community by making you all hate me. That's probably not a good idea, is it? Huh. Well, hello there everybody, I'm Photo Dave and this is Toypixx, and whether this is your first or 100th time on the channel, Toypixx is all about helping you and helping moi get a whole lot better at our action figure photography. So if that sounds cool to you, go ahead and click subscribe while I describe exactly what's going on in this video. So here's the thing. I'm not the man who likes to throw out the negative into the world. So before I even start, watch this video, and when you comment below and tell me why I'm wrong. Let's hear that. That's what I want to see. I want you to change my mind. So here's the deal. There are several action figure lines that I don't collect that are really popular. Now, again, I come at everything from a toy photographer's perspective, but even that, I'm just one toy photographer. There are a lot of toy photographers out there who collect these lines that I don't and do phenomenal work with them. So it's just me, it's just my perspective. Don't jump on any other toy photographers for what I'm saying, but feel free to, just like I said, tell me why I'm wrong. Now keep in mind, some of the reasons are the rules. I don't really get into 7-inch figures, like 1/10 scale, but I'm not gonna lie, if I had the budget, I probably would. Some of them are very cool. I don't get into stuff that doesn't articulate very well. I don't get into things that have like a waist twist that looks like you just sat the top of a figure on top of the bottom of a figure. So there are rules I have, but that doesn't mean that some of these figures don't look cool. It's just me explaining a little bit of why. These are some lines that I simply don't collect. So, let's get started so you can let the hate flow. Small disclaimer before we go any further with this video. Do not ever let somebody tell you how you should collect. You get stuff that you think is awesome. That's the bottom line for any collection. I might say something that you listen to and you just shake your head going, but dude, that's a great collection. Like I said at the beginning of the video, comment below and change my mind. Tell me why I'm wrong, but let's all be cool with each other. Again, I'm looking at this from my own toy photography perspective, and some of it's even clouded by some nostalgia that maybe just isn't there, that maybe a lot of other people have for a property. It's no skin off my back, and if I say something that dogs on your line, it should be no skin off yours. Remember, Toypixx is all about photos, figures, and fun, so let's not get crazy in the comments. Let's be geeked, let's just enjoy each other, let's laugh at each other's idiocy, and let's get this thing going. The first fairly popular line that I don't collect is Mattel's Masterverse Revelations. Yes, friends! I had He-Man figures growing up. I thought they were okay at the time. They were pretty sweet. They were the in thing. But here's the deal. That nostalgia for them didn't carry through into adulthood. I've never been the barbarians guy, the magic guy, the wizards and warlocks, the sword and sorcery. Not my thing. I don't even really like the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. That's right. Let the hate flow. So these were going to be a non-starter line for me anyway, but here's the other thing. As I look at them from my own perspective as a toy photographer, their proportions are really weird. Now, I know that there's plenty of photo tricks that I could do to kind of hide that a bit, but tiny heads, big bodies, and you know, I'm just not feeling it. I don't think that they all look bad, and if you're a collector of Masterverse, good on you. I'm not judging you. You can judge me. Now, here's where I'm gonna get some hate. Bring it. Let me feel your hate. I should never try to do an Emperor impression, but it is Super 7 as a whole. Now, you know that one of my rules, budgetary concerns mostly, is to not go into 1/10 scale figures, and most of what Super 7 does is 1/10 scale. They also stick mostly to a very animated look, and I'm not a big fan of animated looks. As I've said in past videos, I see that, and even when I was a kid watching cartoons, I would watch them and be like, well, they have to draw them simply because it's easier to get the cells done and all that. Somehow, I was aware of that as a punk kid, which is, well, frankly, it's very strange, but it never really sank in with me that making figures based entirely on animation was ever something that I was going to want. And then there's the articulation. Super 7 figures are not that well articulated. If they were, I'd probably consider them a lot more seriously, because there are several that look good. I've even thought, you know what, the Animaniacs line, they don't really need a whole lot of articulation. Maybe I can dip into those, but no! There's a budget. And right now, Super 7 is just not accounted for in that budget. And now I'm going to say something that's going to make a lot of you want to put a foot through my chest. I do not collect the NECA cartoon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, again, it's a very simple reason. They're cartoon. They look too toony. That's not my thing. It's just not. But I am highly stoked for the NECA Mirage Studios Turtles. I can't wait to start seeing them churn out more figures for that line, because right now, I just have Fugitoid, and I feel like he's not a fair representation of what NECA's able to do. And frankly, the only turtle figures I've ever had from NECA besides Fugitoid are the knockoffs of their, 2008 convention exclusive figures. So I don't really have a real test to find out how good NECA really is. And I will say, even though I personally am not a fan of the cartoon aesthetic, I've seen a lot of displays that look awfully good with those things. So there's really no hate here when it comes to that line. It's just an aesthetic that I just don't really dig. For this one and the next one, you might have to blame Mofex, or at least for this one, you can blame the fact that I don't get 1/10 scale figures. Oh, budget. But that is the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse line. Now here's the thing. I've had DC Multiverse figures. They are clunky. They're blocky. They're chunky. I've said this before, and I do feel this. Now, I love comic book characters. That's one of the reasons I love Mofex so much. They don't move great. They feel, like I said, clunky, but they feel unrefined. It's like somebody took the figure, took the design, and got about 70 to 80% of the way complete, and then somebody higher up said, okay, good enough, ship it. And from time to time, you're gonna have a good enough figure that has to get shipped out. But this, every time I see a figure, it looks like it was a good enough figure. I had a manager, when I used to have an office job, that would say perfection is the enemy of good enough. And I know exactly what the manager meant, but the team that worked under him, for the most part, took it as, we can get away with just doing average work and we're okay. And it drove me crazy. And that's what I feel like the entire DC Multiverse line is. And it's not just that. I have Spawn figures, and I even put some of them on my top 10 figures of last year, but they also have this clunky, blocky, sort of unfinished, unrefined look to them. So, this one might give me some hate, and go ahead, bring me all kinds. But more importantly than giving me a lot of hate, tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me about examples of where DC Multiverse absolutely nailed it and did that figure 100% right. Tell me examples of figures that you are 100% happy with. Because I'll be honest, I've seen figures like Man-Bat and Killer Croc and those bigger figures come out, and I'm like, those look kind of cool. But then I notice there's no additional accessories, so there's not much I can do with them when it comes to toy photography. But again, you list down below in the comments the figures that you are 100% happy with, and I might check them out, because I'll be honest, my pre-orders keep getting pushed back, and I've got nothing new coming in till I don't even know when. For this one and the next one, you might have to blame MothX, or at least for this one, you can blame the fact that I don't get 1/10 scale figures. Oh, budget. But that is the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse line. Now here's the thing, I've had DC Multiverse figures. They are clunky. They're blocky, they're chunky. I've said this before, and I do feel this. Now, I love comic book characters. That's one of the reasons I love MothX so much. They don't move great. They feel, like I said, clunky, but they feel unrefined. It's like somebody took the figure, took the design, and got about 70 to 80% of the way complete, and then somebody higher up said, okay, good enough, ship it. And from time to time, you're gonna have a good enough figure that has to get shipped out. But this, every time I see a figure, it looks like it was a good enough figure. I had a manager, when I used to have an office job, that would say perfection is the enemy of good enough. And I know exactly what the manager meant, but the team that worked under him, for the most part, took it as, we can get away with just doing average work and we're okay. And it drove me crazy. And that's what I feel like the entire DC Multiverse line is. And it's not just that. I have Spawn figures, and I even put some of them on my top 10 figures of last year, but they also have this clunky, blocky, sort of unfinished, unrefined look to them. So, this one might give me some hate, and go ahead, bring me all kinds. But more importantly than giving me a lot of hate, tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me about examples of where DC Multiverse absolutely nailed it and did that figure 100% right. Tell me examples of figures that you are 100% happy with. Because I'll be honest, I've seen figures like Man-Bat and Killer Croc and those bigger figures come out, and I'm like, those look kind of cool. But then I notice there's no additional accessories, so there's not much I can do with them when it comes to toy photography. But again, you list down below in the comments the figures that you are 100% happy with, and I might check them out, because I'll be honest, my pre-orders keep getting pushed back, and I've got nothing new coming in till I don't even know when. And last but not least, when it comes to figures that I no longer collect, when it comes to lines that I avoid, is Marvel Legends. Now don't hate me, remember, tell me I'm wrong in the comments, but here's why I stopped collecting them. First off, we all owe Toy Biz a huge debt of gratitude, because if it weren't for them, we wouldn't have the super articulated action figures that we have today. They kind of kicked off the whole awesome articulation revolution and made it so people like me really dig taking photos of these things. So what happened? One day I woke up and I looked on my shelves, and remember, if you look back on my Instagram, way back when, most of the photos are Marvel Legends photos, so I'm not saying this out of turn here. I had a lot of these figures. I looked up on my shelves and I saw the same bodies over and over and over and over and over again. The same hands over and over and over and over and over again. Sometimes the same heads repainted, a lot of the same effects. And I thought to myself, wow, I spend a lot of money on the same thing all the time. And it kind of irritated me, but I thought, that's not their fault, that's my fault. We're cool, just keep it where it's at, maybe I'll get some more. But then, prices started rising, and the Wolverine 5-pack was announced that was mostly just a ton of repaints for an insane amount of money, And that kind of just opened my eyes to, whoa, I've already decided this stuff's not cool, and that's a lot of money. And we can say, hey, maybe the cost of plastics have gone up. In fact, I have done my research. The cost of plastics have gone up, but I suspect when it comes to Legends, when it comes to Hasbro as a whole, it's less about the consumer and more about the shareholders. Remember, right now, we're looking at record profit margins across the board for a lot of major corporations, and I'm thinking that's the deal. Now, it's starting to downturn a little now. They're starting to see, oh, crap, maybe we shouldn't have done much of that, but I suspect that's more what's happened than the fact that plastic has gone up. Can't confirm it, not 100% sure, but then there was that. Then they announce, hey, we've got a brand new female body. That's not as well articulated as the G.I. Joe female body, but that's okay. We've got a brand new male body that still has that waist twist and doesn't have the ball joint at the waist. So it still, when you turn them, looks like they took the top of an action figure and just set it on top of the bottom of an action figure. It just doesn't look good for toy photos, at least the toy photos I like to take. So I saw that stuff and I was thinking, I think I could probably dip out of Marvel Legends, but then I really started thinking about their marketing tactics. And let me tell you, there are a lot of ways to market. People will say what Hasbro is doing is they're releasing kind of the figure people don't really want so they can release the good one later on. It's marketing. No, it's manipulation. It's one way to do marketing is through manipulation, but if you look at companies like Mezco and Mafex, these companies try to knock it out of the park with every release, and that is how you build brand loyalty. The way that Hasbro's Marvel Legends team is manipulating us into buying things is how you build a little bit of anger in the fan base. So I put all that together and I thought, wow, I can't do this anymore. Now, all that said, the Big G will be here later on this year, but I'll probably sell all the Heralds that come with him. And remember, I might be wrong now. I mean, I have seen some Legend stuff coming out that they're adding heads and hands, and they look to be trying to step up the paints and all that. But it still kind of sticks in my craw a little bit about their marketing technique. And it definitely sticks in about how the waist twist happens. That just bugs me, especially for photos. But comment below, tell me I'm wrong, tell me why I'm wrong, and if you've got figures that articulate as well as Mafex figures and don't have that waist turn and all that stuff and come with a lot of cool stuff, comment below. Let me know. If you're 100% happy and you're 100% sold on that, game on. Because, that's something else that drives me crazy, is because you do have to keep buying figures until you get the perfect one. But it's not just the perfect one. Now you have to go back and get the others because they all came with just a little bit of stuff to help make this the perfect one, because on its own, it's not the perfect one. Unlike what Mezco and Mafex do, they try to just make the perfect figure every time. Whew! That got ranty. My bad. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was that. That's right, I dogged some lines. Those were 5 action figure lines that I just don't collect. Remember to comment below and tell me how wrong I am, because chances are I dogged one of your favorite lines, and if that's the case, I need to hear about it, and I need you to say, whoa, dude, no. Check out these figures, because these figures will show you why this line is still worth a crap. Yeah. Those are the comments. I will be leaving in the video description some figures that I dig, so you can click on those. And remember, folks, that Amazon Prime Day is coming on July 12th through the 13th. And if you click on any Amazon link that I post in any of these videos, and go to Amazon using those links and buy anything at all on the site, you'll be helping out Maniacs Branding. So if you could remember to do that on July 12th and 13th specifically, I'd certainly appreciate it. And hey, even if you just watch this video all the way through to the end, That helps the channel in a big way. So please remember to like, comment, subscribe, share if you enjoy sharing some ranty stuff with your people. And hey, that's it. So have fun, happy snapping, and now I'm gonna go watch some videos of kittens. Just to, wind down. See ya.